Hi everyone, it's Nubian Sun, Ra. Welcome back. I hope you all are drinking your water, saying your affirmations, keeping yourself balanced, grounding yourself, earthing, saying your affirmations, and meditating. These are essential to our growth and our peace of mind and self-care. So just for starters, I just wanted to say that in my last video when I stated my observation of what happened to Jason Walker, you have to research it because I think he got shot too in the back, and I forgot to state that important information in that video. But yeah, that's just all I had to say on that. But this video, I wanted to speak on biased opinions about situations, and I just wanted to put my 2 cents in it. This isn't really a video about polarity, but you might find polarity in this video if you are observant enough. So I just wanted to say, women and men, we are individuals, and not in a way to say that we're separate, but in a way to say that we can make our own choices as an individual, as a person, without any influence from anyone else if we choose to do so, And with that being said, I just like to speak on formal and non-formal, what is considered formal and non-formal, Well, I was watching a video today, and there was this woman that dresses, very conservative, and she was saying that, she had no problem with women that dress a little revealing or a lot revealing, and she got bashed for it when it was her honest, opinion, rightfully so. And I just understood where she came from, because it doesn't take from any other woman for a woman to want to dress more revealing. I never really thought about it. I'm not saying it's something I haven't noticed, because of course you notice things like that. But I'm just saying it doesn't define who I am. People will say, if you don't think a certain way and conform to certain beliefs, that you weren't raised right, you weren't taught how to do certain things, and all that silly nonsense. And to me, honestly, I get offended, because it's women are natural creatures. Our bodies are natural. It was objectified by a person, fuck all that Adam and Eve. Oh, we was in the Garden of Eden and Eve realized she was naked and sin and all that shit. I don't know about none of that. That's a metaphor. People will look at it as something literal, and they'll actually use that as a defense point. But for me, I look at it as a natural thing. You know, we came in this world naked. You know, clothes were used to shield us from weathers. Depending on what's, part of the earth you live on, you can use clothing to shield yourself from harsh weathers from the sun or harsh weathers from the winter. Snow and stuff like that. But that's not to say that's who you are. People get so offended when they see a woman showing a little cleavage, not realizing that that's natural. And if it makes a person feel uncomfortable, I just automatically think, me personally, I just automatically think like it bothers them because of some type of programming, and whatever programming it is different, multiple kinds that has a problem with that kind of exposure of a woman. But whatever program it is, it has nothing to do with that woman and what she decides to do with her body, And I just find it weird how there's different places on earth in different cultures where a woman can have her legs wide open and near a river washing clothes, and men would see it and they would just walk past her, like nothing happened, because it's that natural to them, But here in America and in certain other places that's Americanized, we find that to be a problem. So much so to the point where a baby can't even feed in public without it being a problem to people. Something that's so natural, And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being conservative either, because there are people in certain cultures that dress from head to toe and all you can see is their eyes. And sometimes it's a veil over that. You can't even see that, There's nothing wrong with that. I feel like people that have a problem with that want to be able to be lustful towards a woman, so they want her in tight clothing and it to be as revealing as possible. It just depends on the person. But regardless of what that woman is wearing and what she decides to do with her body, it has nothing to do with anybody. That's between that woman and God, And I just feel like that's a trait of narcissism that a lot of people do not realize that they have, and it's also a seed that leads to other growths of mental health issues and personality disorders that will make a person judgmental. It will make you judgmental to the point where you're unpleasant to be around, depending on the person. Not just anybody will feel comfortable around you, And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, because to a certain extent, you would want it to be that way. But when it comes to something as simple as clothing, it's kind of, to me, it's petty and it's very far-fetched, But I just feel like it's a difference from a woman dressing a little free, and a difference from that than, she's promiscuous. It's a difference. There are some women that dress revealing, and they're not promiscuous. It's just the way that they like to dress. She's not trying to get all the men attention. In certain cultures on islands, there are women in whole bikinis with feathers on it, you know, and nobody blinks an eye there because it's costume wear. You know, athletes do it on national television, but we'll actually judge a woman in the street that's dressed the same way, and we call it a problem. I'm all for, you know, there's a place and time for everything, you know, but at the same time, that's kind of a controlling, you know, and it's not really giving anyone any freedom in that way. It's like telling your child, like, oh, they cannot have pizza for breakfast. It's too early for pizza. That's a lunch or a dinner food. No, like, that's wild. And I just feel like it's the same way with men, like, that doesn't wear a shirt, you know, and they be like, oh, he doesn't like to wear a shirt. They will call you a barbarian or some type of savage or something, you know. But what's wrong with it, you know? They tell you have to have a shirt on to go into stores and stuff because they call it more civilized. It's more civilized, you know. It's all based on perception, basically. But no matter what the perception is, I just feel as if we should have an open mind, you know, because people that do not have an open mind is what causes restrictions for other people, certain other people, and that's what causes rebellion, and rebellion leads to war, you know. And I just feel like we don't really take that into consideration whenever we put in so many restrictions on people. And that's why I said in one of my other videos, like I said, look, we too stacked on top of each other. Like, we need some room to breathe. Like, depending on how much you make is the area that you get to live in. That's wild, because it's like, what if you and your neighbors live differently? You know, what if you live in a neighborhood that's mostly old people, but you're a young person, and you have parties, birthday parties, cookouts, and you want to listen to some music outside, you know, and you can't even do that, not even on a weekend, without police in your front yard, because people do not like the way you live, you know? And it's like, that's just one example. I could go on. And y'all know I can. I could go on. And it's like, wow, because at the end of the day, none of these things define a person. You have to get to know a person, have to experience a person. I said this in one of my other videos. Check out some of my other videos. That you should look at a person as something mysterious. You know, don't be so easy to judge on things you do not know. There are some things that you can put together and you can be like, yeah, I pretty much get that. Especially if there's action followed behind it. But, you know, that's something that an observer would do. You know, not a lot of people think like that. They just judge a book by its cover. You know, I'm very observant, and I will be quiet around people until I actually put things together. Sometimes I might not be quiet. I might be an extrovert, but just know the whole time I'm actually putting stuff together. I'm being extroverted on purpose, just to put stuff together, you know. So that's also one of those, you know, judging a book by its cover thing I was just talking about. You know, people will always think that they know what you're doing better than you know what you're doing. They think they know you better than you know yourself. It's crazy. Like, okay, I'm not saying that this is all cases, but this is a lot of cases these days because most people are running off of programs. So you can actually put, two and two together, like with most people. If you're an intelligent being, you know that you actually can tell these kind of people, by, just the things they partake in, the conversations that they have. You can actually flow with these people because it's a program. It's predictable. So that's one story. That's a different story. But when it comes to original beings, like you are your true self, like you know thyself, that's being an original. These people that are running off programs, they think they know you better than you know yourself. Like an example, you could do something and they, in their mind, their programmed mind, they think they know exactly why you did what you did. And they could tell you, they will tell you too, that you did X, Y, and Z for XO reason, right? And then you'll look at them, I'm laughing because I've had plenty of experiences like this, and it was funny to me because they were wrong. You'll look at them and you'll be like, that's not why at all. If I had a programmed mind, then yeah, that would be the reason why I did that, But everything isn't always what it seems to be, And these people are oblivious to that fact. So they would actually think they know why you did what you did, and you're just looking like that's not why at all. And they'll think you're lying because they think they know you better than you know yourself, And it's an illusion because if you really get down to the facts of it, they don't know you at all. People say they know God, but don't know themselves. They don't know that they're programmed. They haven't reprogrammed themselves, And so that tells a lot. Not to be rude or anything, I'm just being honest. I'm just very blunt. I'm very blunt. So it comes off like that sometimes, and I don't be trying to offend anybody. So when I am around people, I try to keep it in the terms of which it's like understood and not understood. Like they can understand it, resonate with what I said, without me feeling like I'm stepping on their respect or feeling like I'm holier than thou or whatever the fuck. So yeah, that's just something I observed, and it's funny because this happens a lot in functions because everyone's always trying to read each other, but I'm always the one that's hard to read. Like they think they'll know because of my body language, and then when they come to approach me and engage, they realize, oh, she's not like that at all. Like I don't even know what to do. I'm stuck. A lot of times they just leave me alone and go away. And then sometimes I'm in this cycle with this person because they're trying all the tricks and experiences that they've ever known. And I'm like, look, You think I haven't met more of you? Like, you on a program, I've met plenty of you before. Not to be cocky. I'm just saying I feel like it's an insult to an intelligence whenever you actually state certain things to these kind of individuals, and they just still like keep trying and trying and trying. That's why I don't go out no more. I be in the crib chilling. So yeah, that's something I wanted to share, because it's true. It's true. Like, people love to gossip about other people. They don't say anything about themselves, because when you speak about yourself these days, everyone think that you're self-centered. But if a person, sorry, my nose was itching. If a person was to speak about themselves, you're just getting to know that person, But because people like to talk about other people, you have to get to know that person depending on how they talk about them other people. What they say, how they say it, the words they use. How close is these people? And it's not to make judgment on those people. It's to figure out how this person treat people and what they think about people. It tells a lot about a person's character. Things like that is what I actually look for when I come in contact with someone who's on a program. Because my thing is, I need to know exactly how far I could take a conversation. If we want to talk about the weather, if we're going to talk about which restaurants have the trash food, and what your favorite wine is, just simple things. Or if we can actually have a conversation about, other, out of this world things, and because you don't want to have this conversation with just anybody. A lot of people would think that they can just go into these conversations with just anybody, and a lot of times it's like, they'll bait you if you actually bring it up, but then they'll have conversations about you with the next person later and say, yo, she crazy. I'm just being real. I'm just keeping it real. I'm keeping it real because this is exactly what happens. And this is why I'm just so careful now, because I realize that not everyone is on the same frequency. We all live on this earth, but we're on different frequencies, and different realities. We live in different worlds and, dimensions and things. It's just not all the same. We all see differently. Not everyone see the same. Some people have spiritual sight, their third eye open, or their eyes wide open like a deer in headlights, but they can't use the mind, the brain, and vice versa. It's all kinds of creatures and beings on the planet. So with being of different DNA, different make and models, there comes different frequencies, state of consciousness, and it's a beautiful thing if we could all just know who's who, if this knowledge was taught, instead of you having to gain experience to be able to have this knowledge. It's like a job. To have a job, You have to have experience. To have experience, you have to have a job. You know, I hated it when I had to work my first job. You know, I was mad. I was pissed because everyone was looking at me sideways because they're like, oh, she doesn't know how to do this, X, Y, and Z, because they're so used to people that's worked before, that knows how to work, you know, those jobs. And they had to actually baby step me because I didn't know, you know, and to have to depend on people to actually put you in position to get to that stage is hard because you need the experience. And it's not a lot of people that's willing to do that for you or do that with you, in other words. In better words, do that with you, you know. And like I said in one of my other videos, you know, sometimes we have to do things over and over again to be able to grasp a different understanding or understanding or overstanding. Because as we change and we grow in spirit, we gain different perceptions. We learn more things, you know, and we start to see things a different way. There are a lot of people that's not willing to go backwards, not in a way as in to stunt their growth, you know, but just to look over a skill to be able to get better, learn how to do it a different way, learn different things, you know. And it's ego and pride, you know, and that's a lot of times that's what keep us from being able to share experiences with each other, being able to get to know the next person and who they are, you know. And that's why there's this whole divinely guided situation to where we eventually figure things out, you know. But what this new generation want, they don't want to have to figure it out on their own, and it takes years and stuff like that. They come here already wanting to know, be activated, and they have that right to want to do that, rightfully so, you know. The only reason why we had to get it out the mud in this generation is because we are the generation that was weaving out and finding who the healers were that's going to be able to help the next generations. The time is changing people, places, and things, so it's not going to always be like this, you know. That's just something I want to share. So I'm off this. Peace and love.